junk over there. Did I bring a straw in? I don't think I brought a straw in. I didn't really do any kind of update, y'all. I'm going to talk in a minute. I'll give it about 5 minutes to see if anybody gets notifications, and then we'll go from there. I ain't going to be on here too long because I got homework and I got to get to bed early because I got to be at an appointment at 9:45 a.m. Originally it said 7, and they saw 9, so I'll be there at 9:45. Well, I'll be there earlier. Hey, Tanya, what's up? How you doing? How's the weather? I'm good, tired. I got to get up tomorrow well, I'll be up probably around 5-ish because I got to start getting my body acclimated to get up early. I'm at the other job, I'm on vacation, and pretty much I won't be there for virtually the month of November. And then I got some other stuff going on, and I'm supposed to be there. Initially, they said 7. Then they said 7:30, but then I guess Monday there's gonna be so many of us going to this thing that it's 9:45, and I guess they rolling us through in groups. So I'll have more on that. Preferably everything goes well. I'll have more on that probably about the third weekend, and I'll let y'all know more. Um, I do have to go to my other job for. We're gonna talk more about everything, Tanya. But I'm happy your weather was good. Um, I gotta go to the job that I'm currently at. I'm going in on Friday for like really it says an hour, but I'm going in at 7:30 and my lunch is scheduled at 8, so I'm only going in for half an hour, but I have to be there for an hour, and I'm going in just to make sure my time card is updated for all my time off. Woo! But I've scheduled out all my vacation because I earned a vacation after a year, so I'm just making sure they give me my vacation. I don't be trusting folks. People are doing companies do some weird stuff, so I'm just like, I'm gonna work it to my advantage, as they will do theirs because they don't really care. But we talk more about it. Jay, what's up, my brother in Christ? Baby, are you watching what's going on? I think we gonna be hearing a trumpet, Jay. I think we gonna be hearing a trumpet. I don't know if it's gonna be this year or next year, but baby, I believe he's coming back for us soon. I'm just saying. Israel. 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 I would have never fathomed I would be alive to see this much prophecy be in play. I wouldn't believe it. But praise him, yes indeed. What's up, my brother? How you doing? Yeah, Tanya, we'll talk about it more. We'll talk about everything more in 3 weeks. I want to make sure everything is solidified because you go into somewhere, and I learned that after dealing with the light rail. You go in there and it feels good, you think it's good, and then you learn that, well, you have a perception that they give you. Because I met the lady in front, didn't mention all this other stuff that was going on, this agility test and switching gears and walking on rocks and climbing up on trains. Didn't mention none of that. Didn't mention none of that. Just pretty much, oh, you just sit in the seat and go forward and drive the train. Okay, it's like a truck. The truck gets some extra, but it's maneuvering. There's some physical, but nothing like what I was doing for that train, um, and for a light rail. So I want to make sure there's no issues, and then I'll share more of everything. I believe it should be go, but you have a test to pass. They give you 90 days to pass. Excuse me, 6 months to pass the test, but you take a test in 2 weeks, and it's state licensing. So I got to make sure I pass all that. They do hire a company who I'm familiar with because I think the company did the brokerage training for Charles Schwab. If I remember this company correctly, they've been around a long time. So we got 2 weeks of training. And then, like I said, if everything goes good, I already know somebody at the place I'm going. So if everything goes well and I'm able to pass everything and I feel confident, then I'll let the mother folk know. For now, I'm using up my time to analyze the situation. Before I leave one, I make sure everything else is in order. But I'll give more details. Um, and definitely will be a blessing financially because it's a bigger bump. Um, Much bigger bump than where I'm at now. Um, And the person I know was at where I'm at now, and she said it's a much more professional environment as well. So, and that's something, like I said, I'll talk about everything a lot more. Has the place I've been at been a blessing? Yeah, for what it served for. I got Little Man Hulk, and I've got some other things, but at the same time, there's some things that have transpired that made me say, oh, I'm good. I'm good. Thank you. Thank you. Bye bye now. Let me go talk to the Lord. And I talked to the Lord, and I was like, well, let's put the paper out there, see what happened. And things happened. And and the timing was kind of perfect. Vacation came in, offer came in, vacation came in. Okay, well, let's do this and see what y'all doing. And if everything is a go, and you can make money. Well, I'm doing insurance, but not this type of insurance. Later, you could become independent and make very good money. All right, y'all, I'm drinking something new tonight. I don't know if y'all have salad and go. I don't know if y'all can even see the salad and go. See the salad and go? This is the blueberry basil. These are my two favorites. And this is the cucumber mint. Both are lemonade. So this is the cucumber mint lemonade. And y'all can see some of the pieces of the mint at the bottom. And then this is the blueberry basil. Well, I guess it got a little basil at the bottom. I never realized it. Anyways, very good. Two of my favorite. $1.29, which isn't bad for, everybody want to charge you $4 for a specialty drink now. They charge $1.29. And then I got a wrap for tomorrow. I got some homework to do, so I ain't going to be on here too terribly long. Actually, I got homework and I got it's two. And again, I'm online, but he did two freaking written essays, 45 minutes each. So I need to read through the material, look at the little thing, and then go in here and do these exams, of which I really am not feeling. I prefer, give me something to write, I write it up, but this is the written exam on the material. So we're going to go from there. What was I going to tell you? I was just doing a little check-in. I hope everybody's okay. Hope everybody is dealing. I know on my Christian group, a lot of people are struggling with the war situation. You're struggling with the stress, really just the stress of the world. Everything from that 22-person shooting in Maine to the war in Israel to that anticipation. Are we going to be in a war because of our affiliation with Israel? I'm going to tell you, we want to choose to be on the right side of this. We won't do that. And the right side of it to me is standing with Israel. I know a lot of people are looking at sound bites and all of a sudden jumping on bandwagons. One of the reasons why sometimes I wait before I talk about something, I got gnats, y'all. The gnats are driving me nuts. I've got my gnat. I did three more gnat traps. I got two, so I got gnats. And it was funny. I went to Texas Roadhouse today for lunch, for lunch. I had a gift card, so I went there, and while I'm there, gnats. I'm like, okay, it must be just gnats. Because even when I'm out, I'm like, oh my God, they're obnoxious. And the weird part, we haven't had a lot of moisture here in Arizona. So I'm trying to think if we've even had any really good storms. We have not. It's cooling off, but we haven't had any good, but we got gnats. The gnats, and they get in here and you got to make sure you ain't got a bad fruit. You ain't got nothing moist that they can get to, because then they multiply. They multiply and they have their whole tribes. Not tribes. I can't stand them. I hate gnats. So I normally did a jar with water and sugar and Dawn or some kind of dish soap, because once they go in and you put a saran wrap over the top. Well, Joe, he did my method, but he said he was cooking, and when he got back from a vacation, he made something with some vinegar in it. And they were attracted to the dressing, so the vinegar. So I'm like, let me add vinegar and honey. I got a whole cup in there with about them many gnats. The gnats, like if you see them at the bottom. I'm like, that's wonderful. Let's get them, because they everywhere. They're horrible. They're absolutely horrible. So I got cup in the hallway, cup up here on this counter. Right now I got 3 cups in the kitchen area, but one of them's gonna go back to my room. I just haven't took it back there yet. And it's sitting on the counter, but yeah, we getting ready to, me and the gnats coming to a head. And then I'm just checking to make sure I don't have any fruit lying around or something where they might be multiplying. I close the toilet lid, make sure you don't have any water left in your sink. I sometimes leave a mop water and I'll mop, and then I'll mop and just mop sections. And so then I do it, I'll mop water usually after day 2 or 3. I don't even do that. I did that now. As soon as I mop, the water is out because they like moisture. Any moisture, I don't know. They multiply. They have like 8,000 kids after the moisture. Um. Anyway, what I wanted to get on here, and I know if you guys come in, like, share, subscribe. Um. And if you think it's gonna bless somebody, I know that a lot of people, even on my Christian channel, I have one lady who's been having, well, she's been more prevalent, but I know other people are having issues. But she's having dreams. She actually, whether you believe it or not, she dreamt the attack right before it happened. She sent me. She said she woke up and she sent me something, and she because I believe in dreams because I have them and I've had dreams. Like I told you, I've dreamt. Well, I don't know if I shared this. I dreamt my dreams. When I started realizing my dreams were kind of God-given dreams was back when, well, not kind of, was back when I was 19 years old. My best friend went to the military, and I dreamt somebody called me at the exact time she called me. I didn't know it was her, but I dreamt somebody called me to tell me somebody had passed. The exact time that I dreamt in the dream was the time she called me, and it was her father who had passed. Um, I've had other warning dreams of things, people that are leaving my life, people that I don't see for a long time, usually very symbolic. So sometimes I don't understand them fully when they happen, but then they manifest in their own way down the line. So I shared this with some of my Christian folks, and like I was having dreams of the food issue. I couldn't put my finger on what was going to happen, and I do think it's going to get even worse. Um, I couldn't put my finger on it. I just knew I had a dream, and I had multiple dreams about food issues and water. That was one of them. Linda said, and the water. I was like, okay. So I shared initially with the more private group of people that I felt led to say, hey guys, something is telling me y'all need to stock up on food. Make sure you have good canned foods, beans and rice, and make sure you try to get a good water supply. My water supply is low, so I'm getting ready to start rebuilding it again. I'm going to start getting out here in this garden too. Hopefully everything works out with the current transition, because I believe that time change is going to change some of my life. Because right now I feel like my life, I tried to go nights because it's dead in my place and I'm not stressed. But I'm also noticing I'm tired and my day is out of sequence. So I'm not doing what I really want to do more in a ministry vein. So I I'm adjusting that, and I believe that the time that's going to happen is going to help adjust that for my Christian stuff, for some personal stuff, barbecue sauce, and it's going to align. And then I'm thinking, at least what I'm sensing is when they let us choose time, like scheduling, I'm going to choose something that's a 10 hours with 3 days off. That's the goal. So let's get in here and talk a little bit. So I know the one lady in my Christian group, she dreamt the attack. I believe that's what her dream was. She had contacted me before the attack had happened and said I had this dream, and she told me what it was. And the dream was that she saw a dome on a house, and she thought it was her house, a dome on a house. And she said all she knew is she saw something was crashing into her dome, and she just needed to get her family out. That's all she knew from the dream. She said it scared her really bad. And then she said they were rushing to the house. And when she got to the house, her son, who she thought was her son, he was dead, and they were carrying his body out. She couldn't see him from the front, but she just felt it was her son. And she said his arms were stretched out in the dream like Christ on a cross. And so I realized everything in her dream was symbolic. One, she has a house. It's a normal house here in Arizona. It does not have a dome on it. But I found it interesting, dome. So the only thing I thought, Dome of the Rock, right? Out in Israel, I didn't know anything about this Iron Dome. After I heard about the attack and the Iron Dome, and then she said, hey, did you see what I just saw? After she had transpired the dream, she says, I think it's related to this. And then she thought she's Byzantine Catholic, which I didn't know anything about them. They're very interesting, very different from Roman Catholics, which is a good thing. So and they have domes on their like their historical churches, and multiple. And I was like, I don't think this is about your church. I said, I think it's about what's going on in Israel. And then when the news started talking about some issue with the Iron Dome, I didn't know what the Iron Dome was. So I didn't know the Iron Dome was a military defense system for Israel. I didn't know anything about it until now. So I was like, I think that's the dome. Israel would be considered, because God's chosen people, kind of his house. a house for the people. And we later see people, going into houses, the murders, the kill, all that took place. So I believe her dream had to tack onto that. And then that God was involved in this with them being taken out. So there's a whole bunch of symbolism in her dream. She's had a recent event where she had heard the name Amalek, and that's just being brought out, and she brought that up almost 4 or 5 days before we even before you start seeing it in media, okay, and understanding it. So Amaleks or Amalekites are really the personage group that the Palestinians come off of, and it gets real deep. So she's had a lot, but and a lot of stress. A lot of people are stressing. They're watching this. They're taking on the emotions of it. They have different sides of it. Some people are trying to align themselves with Palestinians. I'm gonna say, pray for all of the people involved. That Israel's Palestinians, all of them, pray for them. But at the end of the day, there was an injustice done. The same way there was an injustice done at 9/11 to us. And based on the system of law, justice will be served. Justice needs to be served. Justice being served is not always what we like to see. And sometimes innocent people, get caught in the actions of it, but also sometimes innocent people may not be as innocent because they may be party to why certain folks are in charge. It's like I said, it's the same as our prior administration had. Old boy, well, we saw what happened with the Capitol, and that is a direct reflection on people who align themselves with somebody who wasn't right. And you saw a lot of the parties start to switch, and some of them backed out of it. Some of them like, we're done. It was somewhat traumatic, and those that were crazy, like maybe that individual, they still hanging in there with them. Some of them was hanging on the side of the Capitol. So you're going to see, I think, the truth of situation in people, and it depends on which glasses you decide to look through. Some people want to look through the lenses and the glasses, um, to old pro victim this, and they're not looking through the true glasses of what's going on. Um, and I would really urge you to look at the true glasses and put yourselves in the shoes of where this originated. Put yourselves in the shoes of the Israelites, or the Jews, and put yourself in them shoes. And if that was your house, my other issue is they're trying to compare this to apartheid. Apartheid is two totally different things. I do not see this in that vein whatsoever. Um, whatsoever. And you also have to go back through some history. You need to see about peace accords. You need to see why the land was split up like it was. There's a whole bunch more that needs to be before you jump on bandwagons. And right now in our society, mentally, people are so microwavable. All they do is look at snippets and then they jump on a bandwagon. What was it that took place? That situation where they killed that girl over there because she wasn't wearing her head covering. And I remember going into the break room at the current company I'm at, and I was going to the break room, and this girl talking about she's going to some protest, but could not explain why she was going to the protest. And I sat at the table laughing because she saw a snippet, and the snippet she had didn't even fully tell everything. I'm like, wait a minute, you going to this thing, you can't even verbalize why you going to protest something, meaning you don't even understand. You just saw a snippet and you know piecemeal about it, but you're going to get out there and you're going to chant and walk and march and be angry about something you don't even have full comprehension of. Absolutely insanity. Absolute insanity. She could, because the lady who's a janitor, I'm like, well, what happened? And she says, oh, I don't know, but it has something to do with some girl in this country, and they wanted to wear this thing and she didn't have it on right and they did something. I don't, she kept saying, I don't know. Like before you jump on that bandwagon, you might want to figure out what you protested. I'm not understanding. But I'm watching people now, and it's like something is missing. I don't know if they're under a fog. I don't know if they're under blinders, and I know God can allow that. It's just like when you're talking to people, all the balls ain't in the park. It's like, and you be sitting up there and be like this. Do you see what's going on? And really, a lot of them have no comprehension. It is absolutely the most amazing thing to watch. I'm watching people who do not understand the signs of the times we're in, and it is disturbing. They have zero clue, absolutely none. Zero. Zero. So I'm just like, okay, Lord, it's on you because I'm not getting it. Folks are weird and they're crazy. Um, and I'm praying for them, but man, I be sitting up there and I got a young guy who sits in front of me at the job I'm at, and he be sitting up there just telling you stuff, and I be sitting up there going, his boy don't know what the hell he talking about. He'll sit up there and I said, so where'd you? Well, Shannon, you got to watch this video. Oh, so this snippet from TikTok. I hate TikTok. I don't really watch it. I don't even have TikTok as a program because to me it's like mindless snippets, and I'm like, okay, to me, we've taken YouTube and we've shortened it down to a 5 minute clip or whatever that is, and it's weird, weird. Okay, let me stop because I get it irritates me. But he sits there and he starts defending stuff, and he sent me something about something Christian, and he didn't even say, oh, from TikTok. I never even opened it. Hey, I don't have TikTok. I ain't even open that. I'm not watching that. It's 5 minutes of something, and based on whatever this 5 minute spiff told you, that's gospel truth. I got people that will call about their health insurance because of something they saw on TikTok. Well, I'm wondering about. You do know we have a government site you can go to, and we mail you a handbook, and you can see that whole handbook online at the government site. But you going over here to Johnny TikTok and believing that's the gospel truth. What's wrong with you? It's amazing. I'm just like, I'm amazed. I'm absolutely, it's just amazing to me. I didn't know people were that naive, and folks are just naive. Really, really naive. Let me do this. Put that chat on there. Yeah, folks is just really, really naive, and it's really sad. And it bothers me because we got people jumping on bandwagons for stuff, and I'm like, please go do your research before you jump on a bandwagon. Know your history before you jump on a bandwagon. Did y'all know that those two groups are cousins? Most people don't know they're related. Them two groups are related. They related historically. Most people don't know that. There's a history of them back in Old Testament. Matter of fact, if I'm remember, and again, I could be wrong. Y'all have to research for yourself. If I'm remembering correctly, I think the Amalekites, God told them back way a long time ago to kill them all. I'm just saying. He knows the end from the beginning, so he knew it was going to happen today if he didn't do what he said. Well, obviously, if they're still alive, what did they not do? They didn't kill them all. I know that seems vicious, but God has bigger. He understands more than we do, and he understands wickedness. The other problem is that we've gotten to this point that we want to show mercy to everyone, and that's not reality. Not everybody is good. You're going to have good and evil. And some people want to give excuses for evil. Some people want to give excuses for wickedness and not realizing there are people who are wicked who will never change. They will go to the casket in their wickedness. I've worked with people who if they change, it's the Lord has done a major. I work with people, I'm like, only the Lord can help you. That's how vicious and wicked they were. In management, I worked with some people who were just evil, and they got off on it. There's people who get off on being buttholes, grumpy. They think it's funny. It's a power thing for them. And then later in their life, when all the chickens come home to roost, then they sad and depressed and lonely because they've driven the people off who would have cared about them. And those that do stay with them are usually major victims themselves. And they so deluded that they stay in the foolishness. And I tell people a lot of times, people are like, oh, well, the Bible says, yes, it does say forgive your enemy, but it don't say to stand there and just let them keep beating you in your face. It don't say that. Turn the other cheek, turn, and then you go. You only got two cheeks. Then it's time to walk away. It's time to walk away. And that there's some wisdom too, because you've got to use wisdom. Some people try to be staunch about things, and they'll try to judge Christianity like, we as a Christian, you should do that. Okay, my Bible also tells me that if somebody's wicked, I'm not supposed to interact with them, and I'm supposed to move on. So which is it? What you're doing is making wise choices, and there's rules to dealing with situations in wisdom. In wisdom. In wisdom. If your father is raping you, I'm just going to use an example. Do you say, oh, okay, I'm going to stay here and be raped and respect my father? You can respect the fact he's your father biologically, but you need to do exactly what the Word of God. And if you have the ability to get out, get out. There's wisdom. It goes back to who can cast the first stone. It really does. There's wisdom in how you handle things. And there's a balance. But see, some people who want to justify their foolishness, they want to go to extremes. You don't want to do that. The other person I want to deal with, what was on the last video? Oh, Chicago BBW, if you watch this. So I did go and find out where the apartments were that you were looking at. So if you watch this, anybody wants to know about Arizona, I'm going to do some driving. I'll put some, when I get some driving done, and I'm going to do a ride. I want to go to one of the oldest Mexican restaurants here in Arizona, which is in Tucson. And I've been there before. How many years though? But where your location is, I hate to say it. When I told you I lived at them ghetto apartments back in the day, and they still there, off of Roosevelt, the apartment complex that you're looking at is off of Roosevelt. The area is not the greatest by Arizona standards. By you being from Chicago, it'll probably be beautiful. I'm not trying to be mean. It will be beautiful. However, the location puts you not far from a lot of stuff. Um, you're not that far from downtown Phoenix. There's a hospital, used to be called the County Hospital. It's located off 24th, so it's there. You're right near the old projects, which is across from a park. So it looks like, because there's the old projects, which I used to have a cousin live in, there's a park, and then there's that complex. And it's off of Roosevelt, at least from what I saw when I looked it up. Um, there is a grocery store I love going to when I get to go. It's called Rancho Market. That is right on the corner from where you would be. Um, love that grocery store. It's phenomenal. And that is a Latino grocery store. Excellent. They have like a little food court. It's bomb, and a grocery store. And then there's another grocery store which I like. It's a Middle Eastern grocery store called Baez Market. And they're right there in front of the old projects, just down from the park. Um, the Middle Eastern, so most of your food, I think they're Middle Eastern, more Muslim run, but the food, you have a lot of Greek, and they call it halal, which would be the Jewish version of kosher. A lot of halal meats. I don't think they carry anything but. And then they have a baklava bar. I haven't been to that one in a while, and there's one north of me I haven't gone to that I'm going to go to one day. Baklava bar that is amazing. So you're right there. So it's not a bad, I mean, location is not the greatest by some standards, but it is a brand new complex. And like I said, everything that's happening in Central Phoenix is starting to spread outward because they're going to need for the ASU students, and they're trying to revamp a lot of the area. They closed down one of the hospitals when Grumpy got sick and almost died out here. Remember, I had to go and help him. was a hospital called, I think it was St. Luke's, over by the projects. And that hospital was closed. I think they temporarily reopened it during COVID just to help with COVID patients. But that hospital has been closed down to my knowledge. The county's still there, but it's not county hospital anymore. It's a company that took over it. So I think the state let it go. I think. I don't know all the details. But the county was a hospital where you went to get help if you didn't have money. And so a lot of times, I think that's where Jane's dad was eventually taken to because he didn't have health insurance at the end. And that hospital always would take people who were struggling. I don't know what it does now because it's not the county anymore. It's called something else, but it's still a hospital. So I mean, you're right there. And is it a bad area? It's not the best. That's the best way I can put it. But bad areas in Arizona are nowhere near, like I said, a Chicago or a New York. It's not. I mean, it's not a great area in Arizona. Uh, I think, and I love my Linda. I think her area and then south of there are probably worse. But even then, I don't know. I mean, she's got like in her neighborhood, there's a lot of crackheads. I don't know about that area as much. I know that the one bus stop we stopped at, there were a lot of drinkers, and like I said, the people's doing the needles in their foot. It was, yeah, it was beyond scope. Anywho, y'all, I'm trying to think what else I wanted to cover. Couldn't think of anything else because I got homework. But I also went. So I did car wash today. I did the place. I was looking for a lint roller, and I have an old one, but it's not. It's like all crusty, so I need to get a new one. And I just did not. I forgot to look at Walmart because I know they probably have them, but I hate Walmart. So I'm probably gonna stop somewhere on the way home tomorrow and see about maybe like a Target. I haven't been in a Target, y'all, in years. I haven't been in a Target in years. But I'm gonna stop at a Target and see what they got. I didn't have much else. I'm trying to think what else if I had anything else going on. Um, but I'll be praying for y'all. Y'all don't be stressed out if you don't know the Lord. All I always tell you is please get to know the Lord, because that is probably the most critical thing you can do, especially in the hour that we're in. Are we going to be going to war? If this escalates, yeah, we're going to be in the war. Matter of fact, I'm waiting to see what's going to happen. I had a recent dream, which is a very weird dream because I don't travel. And in the dream, there was well, first I was on a college campus, which was weird. It wasn't where I go to school at. I don't know where I was at. And I was in like what looked to be like a restaurant, bar, grill, cafe, something like that. I drove up, I parked, and then I got out. I guess I was on a bicycle. I'm riding around the campus, and I go to this little bar grill area where somebody was preaching, but the things that he was saying wasn't quite right. And I was trying to raise my hand to correct him, but I was being ignored. So then I was like, okay, Lord, let it go, because this is what they gonna believe. And as I'm heading out the door, another man meets me, and it's almost like he was trying to debate with me. And I said what I had to say, and then I kept going out the door. When I got outside, I could not get back. I was trying to figure out how to get back to the car, and I couldn't figure out how to get to the car. And I couldn't find the bike either, so that was another issue. Well, the dream jumps, and I'm talking to some girl. I don't even know who this woman is. And in talking to her, she says to me, uh, it's kind of like a weird conversation. And then she says, I wouldn't do any traveling in November. I'm like, okay. And then my doctor's office called in the real time, and I woke up. So I'm like, what in the world? Because it was weird. First of all, y'all, I am a homebody. On the holidays, I really don't go anywhere. I kick it at home. Um, if I did go anywhere, I'm going to go grab something to eat. But for the most part, I usually cook. I find me some movies to watch, and I chill at the house. I don't go anywhere. Um, Even friends sometimes will invite me over. I'm like, I'm good. I don't, because then you got to deal with their family stuff. And a lot of my friends, they like their family drama. I don't like my own family drama, so I really don't want to be in the midst of yours. I just don't. So I'm gonna chill, relax my mind, and enjoy my peace. Um, but she said, "Don't travel anywhere." I'm like, okay, and that has still stuck with me from this dream, and that was several weeks back. So we're now about to hit November, and I'm like, okay, Lord, was something gonna happen? But basically said, don't make any plans to travel anywhere, and I didn't know what that was about. So I know I'm like, okay, something's up, but I don't know what's up. Um, I really, like I said, I don't had no plans of going anywhere, zero. Um, but I'm just gonna tell y'all, be cautious, and yes, we're gonna have it. Is this gonna come to our shore? It is something I'm wondering. Um, that's something I'm wondering. One of the things I'm gonna say, I know some people are like, well, the hostages and hostage negotiation. Let me let me take y'all back a little bit, and I don't know how much y'all watched. So as I was watching the opening part of all this madness, one of the things that they said was that the man who is heading this, who headed this mess, he actually was released on a prior prisoner exchange where they got prisoners released and they released the guy who's part of the head of this Hamas group who's doing this. Uh-huh. So you let go the fool who helped plan all of this and who most likely commanded the attack. Y'all let him out. Y'all let him out. Now, let me say something. I'm not huge on negotiating with enemies. I'm not. And I know that most people want their loved ones to come home. My heart goes out to them. But I don't trust these folk. I just don't. Here two people. Here two people. My ninja, you got 200 some odd doggone folk. You gave me 4 folks out of 200. No, I don't trust you. Just give them 2 out of 200. You got 200 freaking people you kidnapped, and you gave them 2. And all these other folks, well, we trying to negotiate. What kind of negotiation you think they're gonna do? I'm sorry, I don't believe none of these folks say. Something is wrong with them, and something is wrong with you if you think these folks. I just don't see it. So what I hate to say is going to happen, folks going to get mad at Israel because a lot of these hostages, if they're not already dead, they're going to be dead. And they're going to get mad at Israel and they're going to blame it, which I think is part of the propaganda. And I think whoever's behind this, spiritual, whoever behind this, Satan, whoever's behind this, I'm just saying, y'all, if y'all catch what I'm saying in between what I'm saying, the spirits behind this and the personages behind this have a strategic tactic. And propaganda and deception is going to have a whole bunch of people on a bandwagon they shouldn't be on. And again, I remember taking a class back in my 20s at one of the junior colleges out here, Mesa, I think it was, Mesa Community College. I can't remember if it was a sociology class or a history class. I can't remember which one it was. But I remember the instructor said America has short memory. It's a very short memory. So a lot of times we have short memory. Plus, they don't teach history really like they did before. But y'all go back to how the whole Nazis started. And I'm going to tell you what the biggest thing was. Propaganda. If you can, and if you tell a lie enough times, people begin to believe it. Hell, the person telling the lie will begin to believe it. Grumpy told a lie so long it was entrenched about him being a respiratory therapist, and he was not. He had that lie down pat. Old boy in the previous administration, that baby lied to lie. He probably believed a lot of his own lies, and people got behind his lie. There are people who literally do believe that the whole election thing was set up, and they literally do. Now, I don't know. To me, a little bit strange. You got people from your own party who telling you, no, we did all our stuff. Matter of fact, some of them was heading most of the state's counts. We did what we supposed to do. The governor of this state had to ignore old boy because he is so crazy because they like, no, Arizona's There wasn't no false thing. Matter of fact, they had an independent group that paid all their own money to come down here. It's paid money because they believed the lie. Propaganda. Go research propaganda and go research the Nazis, and Hitler. Get back with me. And see how he built from his lies and the things he did. He built that crazy butt group that annihilated so many people. Go see that. And how he grew it. And to me, that's exactly what's going on. You went over into somebody else's house, and now, oh, we the victim. Look what you're doing. You wouldn't even let the folks out. Matter of fact, they just did an interview with, I guess, a former Hamas guy who was the son and grew up under Hamas people in his own family and was up there in the ranks. And I guess now he's become Christian. They did an interview with him. I put it on my Christian channel. I sat here like this. Because I was like, ooh. Okay. Okay. Now, people going to choose what they're going to believe. But I think that baby coming with something. You might want to listen. Anyway, y'all, it's 41 minutes. I'm going to get my butt off of here. I've got to get to some homework. I got 2 essay exams. I ain't even researching material. I got to go back here and get my tablet, my iPad. I'm going to pull up the books because I can't switch screens once I pull it up and get logged on there and then go in here and knock these out. Anyway, peace, y'all. 2 and 2.